Hi everyone, welcome to another tutorial on the Kimberbell mini quilt, and today we're going into the July mini quilt, which is absolutely adorable, perfect for this time of year. And I love how, Kimberbell has included both an American version as well as a Canadian version for those of our friends up in Canada who celebrate on July 1st. So this is definitely a mini quilt that you can keep up all summer long. Very, very fun. And the best part is it's going to go together really quickly. There's some really basic, simple applique going on here. But we take it up a notch by taking a look at these blocks right here. Let's take a look at the heart block, for example. You can see that it has these adorable stripes on here, which are actually accentuated with the red leather, which I think is a lot of fun. Also, if you're doing the little popsicle blocks, check this out. Very, very fun. You've got vinyl, and you even get to fill that vinyl with glitter. Yep, that's right. We're going to fill those popsicles with glitter, and it's going to be absolutely adorable. So, I can see this kind of a design on so many different things besides just the mini quilt. I'm super excited. I mean, how cute would the little popsicles be on a tote bag or on a little child's t-shirt? Unique and very, very different from what you might see out there from the store. So, go ahead and make your patriotic celebration unique by using these designs in so many different ways. All right, are you ready to go ahead and get started? In today's lesson, we are going to go through the heart block and just showing you some tips I have for being able to work through with that leather. For those of you who would like more information on cutting instructions, I want to refer you back to some of our previous videos where we show step-by-step on how to use the cutting diagrams and how that all comes together thanks to the wonderful Kimberbell instructions that you can find included on your project. Okay, so with that being said, let's go ahead and begin that heart applique, and it's just as easy as can be. Let's do it. I also love the basic appliques happening here with the watermelon of Living the Sweet Life, very cute, as well as the rocket ship. Another really fun patriotic motif to add to your collection. All right, so with that being said, let's go ahead and begin on the heart. The first thing we want to do, let's take a closer look at our instructions here. And I am on page 12 for those of you who are following along. You can see here that we need a background block that is 8.5 by 8.5. And then we go to our right side of the heart, which is in white, our left side of the heart, which is in blue. And then, of course, we need our red embroidery leather for the stripes. Now, it's important to make sure that you also back up each one of these pieces with fusible backing. I would say for all of that, with the exception of there's no need to do that on the leather. But all those other fabrics, you definitely want to add that fusible backing to. You'll notice that we have two options for hooping. Either we're going to choose block by block quilting, or we may choose the regular hooping instructions. That's for those of you who would like to finish it on your own long arm, take it to a long arm, or maybe do your own kind of quilting on your sewing machine. However, in today's lesson, I'm going to go through the block by block quilting method, and the recommendation Kimberbell gives to us is to use KDQ 316 Food 6, and it's the 6x6 design. Now, something I want you to make special note of is this. Notice that the actual measurements for a 6x6 design is 6.5 by 6.5, which means it's actually larger in one direction. You're not going to be able to do it with a 6x10 hoop. You will need a larger hoop size in order to complete this block. So if you have a 7x12 hoop or larger, 8x8 hoop would work. Any of those, for those of you who are doing background quilting. All right, so I have right now my 8x12 hoop ready to go. I've already put my light mesh cutaway stabilizer inside of it. That's the only thing that I need to hoop all by itself. And now let's take it over to the embroidery machine and begin stitching the background quilting, and then we bring the applique on top of that. So now that I'm sitting at the machine, I'm ready to go ahead and wake it up, and let's start embroidering. I'm gonna go and touch on embroidery and find my design on my USB stick. And it's right here, KDQ316, and hit set. Now, before I go to embroidery, there's one more thing I need to do first, and that is add the applique on top. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that by hitting the little button that says add, and then I need to find the design. And there we see it, KD5136, it's the 5x7 art design. Click on that and set. All right, so it looks a little ski-wampus, right? But it's because we have background quilting behind the applique. So don't let that confuse you. It's absolutely perfect. The nice thing is that the machine is going to position automatically both of those designs to be centered in the hoop, which is really nice. At this point, I'll hit embroidery, and you will notice at the top of my screen, it has a square box. And this is what I'm going to stitch out onto my stabilizer all by itself. And this is going to show me where to place my batting. Place my batting square over top, just centering it over there and making sure all of my placement lines have been covered. Now I'm going to remove the hoop from my machine and go to the cutting table and trim off the excess batting around the square. And I'm going to grab my Kimberbell scissors. I'm going to pull out the duckbill ones. I love these. Just rest it right up against that batting and trim away. At this point, I'll take it back to the machine, and it's going to stitch a 1/4 inch seam allowance outside to show me exactly where to place my background fabric. Now, I just want you to notice real quickly that I do have fusible backing on the back of my background fabric. I think that's really key to having a very smooth finish with no puckering. Now it's time for my favorite part, and that is to watch the machine do its magic with the background quilting. Let's take a closer look at this background quilting. I just want to take a moment to reflect on how adorable this is. And this is why we love the background quilting designs from Kimberbell. And you can find those at kimberbell.com. And we would appreciate it if you used our affiliate link to do so. But very, very cute. I can see this on all kinds of different things. Now, the next step is going to be, it's going to stitch the placement outline right here for part of my heart. So half of the heart is going to be in blue, the other half is going to be in white. So it's just like a regular applique where we have a placement line, we place the fabric over top, and then the tack down stitch, and then we go from there. Okay, go ahead and remove the hoop and let's trim this heart up. And now it's time to stitch out the second side of the heart. Now that both sides of the heart have been appliqued onto, it's time to add our red leather. And so the first thing we're going to do is take it back to the machine. It's going to stitch the placement lines for the leather. I place the leather over top and then it will do the tack down stitches. So make sure that for these next two steps, you do use the red thread color or whatever thread color you want to coordinate with your red leather. Okay, so that's been stitched down. And let's take it back to the cutting mat. This time I'm going to actually take it over to a rotating mat to help me with the cutting. All right, it's time to cut out in between each of these stripes. But the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my scissors here and I'm going to trim along the outside. Now, there's not necessarily a line, between some of these stripes to do that, but you're going to be able to just follow along in that curvature there. So that's why I really like the help of a rotating mat to help me do this. And let's just carefully trim away the excess here. Okay, so be very careful as you go around these because I know that you could easily get your scissors caught here. Now I'm going to just swirl this back around and I'm going to use the little flexi snips here to help me get in between. These are just a smaller little scissor, so it definitely helps. Once you get one line cut, you can kind of just pull back on itself and then just trim along that bottom edge right there. All right, so let's do that again. Just slide that very carefully underneath that channel and then trim, just kind of pushing your scissor up to the top. Now that that's been released, I can pull back on itself, grab onto it, and trim. And just keep repeating this same step until all your stripes have been revealed. You want to make sure to not clip your threads here because those threads are just a raw edge applique, and so that is going to stay in the leather. So try very hard not to clip those. All right, there we go. Okay, my stripes are ready to go, and now all I have to do is it's going to do the satin stitch around here in red. I'm going to change out my thread to blue. It will do a satin stitch right here, and then I go to a darker blue and it will stitch out the stars and I'll be completed with this block. Okay, we're going to trim our threads and switch out for blue. There's one more color change that needs to happen, and that's the darker blue for the stars. But I don't know how well you can see this, but there's a lot of lint going on here. And that's because I had cut my leather, and so there's tons of red lint. I'm gonna go ahead and just take my little lint brush here. I need to remove this a little bit. There we go. And pick up those stray threads just so that they're not caught into my stars. So just a little tip for you, keep one of these nice and handy, ready to go when the time calls. And just like that, our patriotic heart is complete. It's so cute. Oh my goodness. This is a squeal moment. So excited. All right, let's go ahead and take it back to the cutting mat so I can show you how easy it is to square it up. Simply pop this out of the hoop. And it needs to be a 6.5 by 6.5 inch square. Well, lucky for me, I got some awesome orange pop rulers here to help me do that. Let's take a look. Here's my 6.5 by 6.5. And I'm just visually taking a look to see that this is centered. I can also take a look at the arrows, that goes right down the center there. And if you're doing background quilting designs, you can also use the outside line as a guide as well. I'm also going to place a second orange pop ruler over top just so that I have a little more surface area to be able to hold on to. And now, with the help of my rotating mat, which I find to be very, very beneficial when using orange pop rulers, I'll go ahead and take my rotary cutter and just do a quick trim all the way around. Slide it into the corner channel and go all the way to the end, turn it, slide right in there, turn, and continue this until the entire piece has been done. Looks like I need to just cut a couple spots that my blade missed. No big deal. There we go. Cut. We'll trim here and there. And my block is complete. So cute. Wasn't that so much fun? Super simple, lots of possibilities with this block. I hope you learned something new today. I can't wait to see your pictures. Make sure and post them on social media, and we'd love for you to tag us, hashtag My Girlfriend's Quilt Shop, as well as definitely make sure and hashtag Kimberbell as well. Tag them, because without the amazing designs they produce, we wouldn't have nearly as much fun at our embroidery machines. So have a great time sewing and stitching these out. And we would love for you to like, subscribe, comment on our YouTube channel, and that way you'll be the first to know when a new video arrives. Thanks, everyone.